Hello everybody and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be taking you through how to add bStats to your plugin. So if you're not familiar with bStats, it's essentially just an open source library which you can put inside of your plugin, and if you create an account on this bStats website and you link your plugin with this website, you can collect a load of statistics about your plugin. So I'm just on their regular site here, bstats.org, and of course this will be linked alongside this video, and I head to plugin list. And I just look at some of the most popular plugins. So for example, Paper, obviously that's a server jar, but Paper has it bundled in. And that's why inside of every plugins folder on a Paper server, you will already see bStats. But of course, we're doing it in a plugin. So let me look at, we've got examples here, Essentials X, Vault, World Edit. Let me take a look at World Edit. So I open World Edit. And let's get an understanding of what kind of statistics they collect. So it shows you how many servers it's collected on, how many players on those servers. And then if we scroll down a bit, we can see them in graph form, which is really cool. And then the ones that interest me more specifically is things like the Minecraft version. So you can see the distribution, so you can see basically how unused older versions are and how used newer versions are. And then also you can see, so World Edit obviously have their own versioning system, and you would do that too if you had a public plugin that was out there and released. You could see the distribution of people using different versions of your plugin. You can see where the server's located. You can see the operating system, the Java version. And if we scroll down, they've even got it in a nice map, so you can see that as well. And the server software. So this is just a general distribution, where Paper takes 60% and Spigot takes 22%, and the rest of them take the remaining space. So basically, you can include bStats inside your plugin, so you can have a page exactly like this, but with your own statistics about how your plugin is being used. Now, personally, I think that's really cool. And also, to be honest with you, bStats is one of those things where it's really easy to set up and you don't have many issues setting it up. Sometimes with some APIs, you find yourself fighting for your life with them. With bStats, it's pretty simple. So we'll go through it together. And by the end of this video, we're going to have a page that looks very much like this, but for our plugin. And I'll also make sure that I can show you us collecting some data as well. So that'll be really cool. Alright, so let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create an account on bStats. Now, if you have one already, then of course just log in. But if you don't, you're going to have to go to this page here. It will be linked alongside this video. And type in a username. This will of course have to be unique. You can just make it your Minecraft username if you wish. Type in a password, do the capture and everything, and then log in. Now, of course, I already have an account. So I'll go to login, fill in my details, and then click login. And then you'll see I'm now logged in. So obviously, you'll want to pause the video and get to the same state because I imagine you probably have to sign up and that may take 30 seconds or so. So pause the video, but once you've done that, head to account, head to my page, and you can see the list of all plugins that I've got added on bStats. Now, of course, I've not added any so far, but today we're going to add one and they will be here by the end of this video. So what we're going to do is head to add plugin, and then we're going to select. Now we're going to choose Bucket/Spigot. Of course, we are using Paper, but Paper is built on top of Spigot, which is built on top of Bucket. So we're going to choose Bucket/Spigot and then just put in the name of the plugin. Now the downside with this input field is that it is a global input field across all of bStats. So you do have to find a unique name for your plugin. So if somebody else has got your name, then you will be fighting for it. So you're going to have to choose something which nobody else has taken. Now, unfortunately, I already know that people have taken test plugin. In fact, I probably even took it myself. I'll type in test plugin so you can see what's going to happen. So I'll click I'm not a robot and then add plugin. You see plugin already added. So we need to choose a similar name, but not the same. So let me just do MC Workshop Test Plugin. Okay, now I know that one won't be taken, or at least I'd hope not. So I'll click Add Plugin, and there you go. Now the reason we've done it like that is because you can't have spaces in the plugin name. As you can see by the plugin list, you cannot have a space. You can have a dash, but no spaces. So I'm happy with that, just as a little test. So once we added that plugin, it's taken us to this page. Now, obviously the important part of this page, as you can probably see, is this plugin ID. So we're just going to acknowledge that that's there and we're going to use it in a few minutes. The first thing we have to do in terms of adding it to our plugin is to add it as a dependency in our build.gradle.kts. So what we'll do is head to the build.gradle.kts, and unfortunately bStats only provides instructions for how to do it for Maven. Now, that's not a problem. We can convert it ourselves. It's just a bit more of a hassle, but that's no problem. If you guys just follow what I'm going to write, then we'll pop it in. So we're going to go to the dependencies section, and just under any other dependencies you may have for us, it's just paperweight. We're going to write implementation. Now remember, the implementation one means that it's going to shade, or shadow as you may call it, into our jar. It just essentially means that it's coming with us. We're going to build it into the jar. And that's so that, of course, we can use it when the jar itself runs. So we'll do implementation, and then we just need the path to the actual dependency. So that's going to be org.bstats, and then colon, and then bstats-bucket. So this is referencing the bucket/spigot one, and then a version. Now, the latest version that they have linked on here as the example is 3.0.2. This may be different for you depending on when you're watching this video, but if nothing else, you can rest easy knowing that 3.0.2 is going to work, and that's the one I used in the video. Although I would recommend sticking to the latest one if they have a higher one, because of course you may be able to benefit from new features. But for now, this works for us. Okay, so we're going to hit reload Gradle, and it should take a second, and hopefully we'll get a little sign down here that is downloading something from the bStats repository. And there you go, there's our sign. It was just downloading the bStats. It's obviously, it's a very quick download, so it shouldn't be a problem. Really, Gradle's just taking its time. Okay, so now we have the dependency inside of our Gradle project. And then one thing we are going to have to tackle is that we do have the dependency in here, but before we can actually export it, we have to relocate this dependency. And the point of relocating it is just so that it prevents conflicts with other plugins who may, for example, be using a different version of bStats. And this is because, of course, dozens of plugins on your server, if you have a lot of plugins, might have bStats enabled. So we all need to be responsible and relocate it so that we're all only referencing our own version. So thankfully, relocating something is very easy because of the build.gradle that I've set up for you guys. So what we're going to do is just, in the tasks, we're going to use a shadow jar, just like this. And then in here, we're going to write relocate. Now, this is just going to take 2 strings, just like that. The first string is going to take where it actually is. So it actually is at org.bstats. And the second string is going to take the destination. So where do we want to relocate it to? So there's different kind of conventions for this, but let's just say we will do gg.steven. So that's essentially going to send it right into our package so that only we will use our version of bStats. Alright, so let's head into the code. If we head to test plugin and we try to use a bStats class, for example, I know that one of them is called metrics, you can see we now have access to the org.bstats.bucket. Okay, perfect. So what we're going to do now, if I just remove that, is in the onEnable, we will need to create a new instance of metrics with a couple specific parameters. So if I do val metrics equals, create a new instance of our bStats metrics, and then we're going to pop in, firstly, our instance of our Java plugin, which is this, and then secondly, you see the service ID. Now in our case, that's just a plugin ID. So what we can do is if we head to where we were at before, so if we go to account, my page, and you'll find your plugin. And if I come here, you'll see, oh, well, firstly, this is a really nice view. We get to see all of our data. Of course, there's nothing here because we haven't pushed any data yet. But if you see in the URL here, we have the same plugin ID that we had earlier. And so we'll copy and paste it and bring it with us and simply pop it in there just like that. Now, believe it or not, this will now start logging our data when we start the server and then when the plugin starts. That's literally how easy it is to set up. All we've done is add it as a dependency and then create an instance of a class. That's it. It will natively, by default, collect all of this data without us even lifting a finger. But also the cool thing about bStats is that it actually supports custom charts. So for example, if I was to do a basic example, I'll do metrics.add custom chart. And then before we progress any further, we're going to head back to our bStats page. And then we're going to press this little button here, the settings icon, and we're going to add a custom chart right here. So you choose a chart type. So in our example, we'll just do a simple pie chart. So click that and then give it the title. So let's say in our case, we'll say test chart. Now this is a user-friendly title and this is more of an ID. So we're going to copy and paste that ID and that'll come with us and then submit the chart. So that's going to create it, as you can see, on our main page right down here. Now that means that we can push data to it quite easily. So the way that you do that is we've added the chart online, so now we must add it in our plugin. So we're going to add custom chart, and then we'll create a new instance of a simple pie chart. That's what we used. So the chart type that you used will have its own class associated with it. So just create yourself a new instance of it. So I've got my new simple pie. And then the first parameter, as you can see, is that chart ID that we copied. Now the callable here just wants a string. So what we'll do, we'll write the callable first. So we just open a body right here, and we then have to pass through a string. Now that's because it's a simple pie chart. When you get to an advanced pie chart, you'll see that you then need to pass through a map, and all the different charts have different types of what they want, essentially to help fill the chart. So in our case, because it's just a string, we could just say, I don't know, because we're just doing a test, let's just do success. Okay, so that's just a very simple pie chart. Now, there's so many different types of charts that you can actually do if you want to do it. So if you take a look at this, we scroll down, you see this is a simple pie chart, and then this here is a drill down pie chart. You have line charts, which were the ones that we see on the page, bar charts. So you can choose any of those options, guys, and you can pretty easily collect your own custom metrics, which is really cool. Now, you're probably on the edge of your seat waiting to fire this up and hopefully see that it works. So I'm going to go ahead and click Run Server, and our plugin will start up, and hopefully, because we've linked it with the correct plugin ID, this data should start collecting. So all that will happen is this metrics class here, in fact, we can even have a look inside of it, essentially starts to push data towards the bStats endpoint, and then bStats will collect it and make it visible for us. So hopefully this will work, and I'll see you guys in a second. So guys, the way that the timing works with bStats is that data will send every 30 minutes, but there's an initial delay when the server first starts. And the reason for that is, well, according to bStats, so many servers reset or restart at a certain time, a period in time, and of course that then spams their servers with everyone restarting. So what they do is they put an initial delay on. However, that delay has a hint of randomness in it. So not everybody spams them at once, which means that I can't exactly tell you when you're first, for example, you can have a look in the metrics class and see it yourself. So I can't exactly tell you exactly when your first data is going to come in. However, if I was to guesstimate, I would say wait about 30 minutes. So if you want to go grab a coffee, grab some food, now is definitely the time. This isn't one of those things where you're going to get immediate satisfaction, unfortunately. And as you can see by these lines of code, they're very serious about you not changing these things. Very serious. So go grab some food, guys, or whatever you want to do. Go do a different video, come back to your stats. But otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and pause this video until my stats come in. So hopefully, I'll see you guys in a second. Alright, so right on cue, it took about 30 minutes or so, and my plugin data has appeared. So you can see there's 1 out of 1 servers, which is correct, and it's logged 1 out of 1 players, which was me. You can see it's updated all the graphs with the peak, and then also all the information about the server and the plugin. So we have online mode, yes, the Minecraft version I'm using, the plugin version, which of course we have as 1.0, the server software, which of course is paper, because this is a paper course, and then some more interesting information, server location. Now it says the states, obviously, as you can probably tell, I'm British. That's just because I have a VPN on. So don't worry, it's not broken. And our test chart, which has our custom variable, which we set inside of our code, just there. How exciting is that? So guys, that is bStats. Now, as you can tell, it was very simple setup for, in my opinion, quite a big reward. You can collect all of this data and, well, pretty much any custom data you want. So if you had something like a quests plugin, you want to collect how many people have completed a quest. You want a staff management plugin, collect how many bands. All this information can be stored right here. And also you can share this link with people and they can view it too. And I think for how little effort that was to set up, it's a very big reward. So if you've had any trouble during the setup phase and need any help, of course come join our Discord. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.